Have you ever sat across from someone and felt something pass between the two of you that had absolutely nothing to do with the words being spoken? A silent conversation, a current of electricity that traveled through nothing more than a glance. You looked at them, they looked at you, and in that half second before either of you looked away, something enormous was communicated, something that neither of you could quite put into language, and yet both of you understood completely. Maybe it happened in a crowded room, where the noise of a dozen conversations blurred into a single wash of sound, and yet somehow, across all of that distance and all of that chaos, your eyes found theirs, and for one suspended moment, the room seemed to grow quiet. Maybe it happened in a quiet cafe, over cups of coffee that slowly grew cold because neither of you wanted to break the spell long enough to drink them. Maybe it happened in the most ordinary of circumstances, in a hallway, in a car, at a dinner table surrounded by other people, and yet in that moment it felt like the two of you were the only human beings alive on the entire planet. If you have felt this, even once, then you already know something that the rest of this video is going to explain, expand, and illuminate. You already know that the eyes are not merely instruments for seeing, they are instruments for revealing. They are windows, yes, but they are also doorways, and sometimes when we are lucky and when we are paying attention, they swing open just wide enough for us to glimpse the truth of what another person feels. Here is a truth that psychologists have known for a very long time, and that poets knew long before them. The eyes reveal what the mouth is trained to hide. A person can control their words. They can rehearse their sentences, choose their tone, and edit themselves in real time. They can smile when they are sad. They can say they are fine when they are falling apart. They can claim indifference when their heart is pounding so hard they are certain the whole room can hear it. The words are a performance, carefully managed, endlessly revised. But the eyes operate on a different circuit entirely. The tiny muscles around them, the speed of the blink, the direction of the gaze, the way the pupils expand or contract, all of these are governed by parts of the nervous system that lie almost completely outside of conscious control. This is not a metaphor. This is biology. The autonomic nervous system, which regulates so much of what the eyes do, does not answer to our conscious wishes. It does not care what we want to project. It responds instead to what is actually happening inside of us, to the truth of our internal state, and it broadcasts that truth outward whether we like it or not. Which means that when someone is falling for you, their eyes will tell the story long before their courage catches up, long before they are ready to say the words, long before they even fully understand what is happening to them. The feeling arrives first in the body, first in the involuntary responses, first in the eyes, and only later, sometimes much later, does it climb up into conscious awareness, and finally, if you are fortunate, into spoken language. This is why learning to read the eyes is such a powerful and such a tender skill, because it allows you to perceive the truth of what someone feels before they are able or willing to express it. It allows you to see the early, fragile, beautiful beginnings of love, the first green shoots pushing up through the soil long before the flower has bloomed. In the time we spend together in this video, I am going to walk you through 25 distinct eye contact clues that reveal your crush is falling deeply in love with you. Not casual interest, not simple politeness, not the ordinary friendliness that any decent person offers to another. I'm talking about the specific, measurable, psychologically grounded signals that appear when a human being's heart is quietly, and sometimes involuntarily, tilting toward another person. Some of these clues you may already have noticed without realizing what they meant. You will hear me describe them, and something in your memory will stir, and you will think, wait, they do that, they do exactly that. Some of them will make you replay recent conversations in your mind and gasp a little as the pieces fall into place, as behaviors that once seemed random or meaningless suddenly reveal themselves as part of a pattern, part of a story, part of a slow and quiet confession that has been unfolding right in front of you this entire time. And some of them are so subtle that once I point them out, you will never be able to unsee them again. You will start noticing them everywhere, in yourself, in others, in the countless small dramas of human connection that play out around you every single day. Now, before we begin, I want you to keep one idea in the back of your mind the entire time, because it is the single most important principle in the entire study of body language, and forgetting it is the most common mistake that people make. No single clue proves anything on its own. Human beings are complicated, and eye contact can mean many things. A long gaze might be love, or it might be that the person is lost in thought and staring straight through you without seeing you at all. A look away might be shyness born of attraction, or it might be genuine disinterest. Dilated pupils might mean arousal, or they might simply mean the room is dark. What matters is the pattern. What matters is the cluster. When you see several of these signals appearing together again and again around the same person, in a consistent and repeated way, that is when the picture becomes undeniable. So do not go looking for one magic sign. Do not build a castle of hope on a single foundation stone. Look for the constellation. Look for the way many small stars arrange themselves into something you can finally recognize, a shape, a figure, a meaning written across the sky of another person's behavior. Keep that principle close. Hold it gently the entire time we are together. And now, with that foundation laid, let us begin our journey through the 25 eye contact clues that reveal your crush is falling deeply in love with you. Clue number 1. The gaze that lingers a beat too long. The very first and perhaps most powerful clue is deceptively simple. It is the gaze that stays just a little longer than it should. In ordinary human interaction, there is an unspoken rhythm to eye contact, a subtle and largely unconscious choreography that governs how long we look at one another and when we look away. Most of us have never been formally taught these rules, and yet we all follow them with remarkable precision because we absorb them in early childhood simply by being human beings among other human beings. When two strangers or casual acquaintances speak, their eyes meet, hold for a moment, and then naturally break away. Research on human behavior suggests that comfortable eye contact between people who are not romantically involved tends to last somewhere in the range of 1 to 3 seconds before a natural break occurs. This break is not rejection. It is not coldness. It is simply the social nervous system regulating intimacy, making sure that neither party feels overwhelmed or intruded upon. Eye contact, you see, is an intensely intimate act. To look directly into another person's eyes is to acknowledge them fully, to meet them, to be present with them in a way that carries real weight. And because it carries such weight, we instinctively ration it. We dole it out in small, comfortable portions. We look, we connect, we release, we look again. This gentle rhythm keeps ordinary interaction feeling safe and manageable. But when someone is falling for you, this rhythm changes. The gaze begins to linger. It holds for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, sometimes longer, and crucially, it does not feel aggressive or uncomfortable. There is a very important distinction here, because a long stare can absolutely feel threatening or strange in the wrong context. The gaze of attraction is different. It feels warm, magnetic, almost as if they forgot to look away because they were too absorbed in simply taking you in. There is a softness to it, an openness, a quality that invites rather than intrudes. Here is why this happens on a psychological level, and understanding the mechanism will help you recognize it more clearly. When we are attracted to someone, the brain releases a cascade of chemicals, including dopamine, which is associated with reward, motivation, and the pleasurable anticipation of good things. Looking at the person we are drawn to literally feels good. It activates the same reward circuits in the brain that light up when we anticipate other deeply pleasurable experiences. The face of the beloved becomes, in a very real neurological sense, a source of reward. So the lingering gaze is not a calculated decision. It is not a strategy. It is the brain quite simply refusing to look away from something it finds deeply, intrinsically rewarding. Think about how you behave around something you find beautiful and pleasurable. A breathtaking sunset, a work of art that moves you, the face of someone you love. You do not want to look away. Every instinct in you wants to keep looking, to keep drinking it in, to prolong the experience for as long as possible. This is exactly what happens in the eyes of someone falling in love. Your face has become, to them, one of those things they simply do not want to stop looking at. Pay attention to the quality of the lingering as well, because the quality tells you a great deal. Is there softness in it? Is there a slight, almost dreamy quality, as though they are looking not just at your face, but at the whole of you, at everything you are and everything you mean to them? That soft, extended gaze, held across the space between you, carries an emotional temperature that you can feel. It is not the sharp, evaluating stare of scrutiny. It is the warm, absorbed gaze of appreciation and longing. Notice, too, when this lingering tends to happen. Often it occurs in the small pauses of conversation, in the moments between words, when the practical business of talking has briefly stopped and there is nothing left but the two of you, simply being in each other's presence. In those pauses, watch whether their eyes stay on you, lingering, unwilling to let go. Watch whether they seem reluctant to break the connection, even when the conversation has momentarily lapsed. That reluctance, that unwillingness to release the gaze, is one of the earliest and most honest signals that something real is beginning to grow between you. And here is something else worth understanding. The person doing the lingering is often not fully aware that they are doing it. That is what makes it so trustworthy. It is not a performance staged for your benefit. It is a genuine, involuntary expression of a genuine, involuntary feeling. They may even catch themselves in the act, suddenly realizing that they have been gazing at you for longer than is strictly ordinary, and become a little flustered, a little self-conscious, which brings us naturally toward the second clue. But before we move on, let this first one settle. The lingering gaze. The look that stays a beat too long. Simple, powerful, and profoundly revealing. Clue number 2. The quick glance away followed by the return. The second clue is the beautiful, nervous dance of looking away and then looking back. And it is one of my favorites, because there is something so wonderfully human, so vulnerable, and so honest about it. Here is how it unfolds. You catch them looking at you. Perhaps you turned your head unexpectedly, or looked up from something, and there they were, their eyes already on you. Your eyes meet, and in that instant, they glance away, sometimes quickly, sometimes with a flustered little movement, as though they have been caught doing something they did not mean for you to see. Perhaps they suddenly become very interested in something across the room, or in their own hands, or in an object on the table in front of them. The retreat is swift, almost reflexive. But here is the part that matters, the part that transforms this from a meaningless moment into a meaningful signal. A few seconds later, they look back, and then, perhaps, they do it again, and again. A cycle establishes itself, a rhythm of looking, being caught, retreating, and returning, playing out over the course of your time together. This pattern is one of the most telling in all of attraction psychology, because it reveals an internal conflict, and internal conflict is the fingerprint of genuine feeling. Let me explain what I mean by that, because it is important. When someone feels nothing in particular for you, there is no conflict in their gaze. They look when they have reason to look, and they look away when they have reason to look away, and it all proceeds smoothly, without tension, without drama. There is no push and pull, because there is nothing pulling. But when someone is falling for you, two opposing forces come into play at the same time, and they fight for control. On one hand, they are drawn to look at you. The pull is strong, magnetic, almost irresistible. Their attention wants to be on you. Their eyes want to rest on your face. On the other hand, they are afraid of being too obvious, afraid of revealing too much, afraid of exposing the vulnerable, tender truth of their interest before they are ready, before they know how you feel, before they have any assurance that their feelings might be returned. This fear makes them want to hide, to conceal, to look away and pretend they were never looking at all. So watch what happens when these two forces collide. They look because the pull is strong. They panic because the fear rushes in. They retreat, glancing away to hide. And then, unable to help themselves, drawn back by the same irresistible pull, they return. The cycle repeats because the underlying tension never resolves. The attraction keeps pulling them toward you, and the fear keeps yanking them away, and the result is that lovely, nervous, back-and-forth dance. Simple curiosity does not create this pattern. This is a crucial point. When we are merely curious about someone, when we notice something interesting and want a closer look, we satisfy the curiosity, and we move on. There is no repeated return, because once the curiosity is satisfied, the impulse is spent. But attraction is never satisfied by a single look. It hungers for more. It keeps drawing the person back, again and again, no matter how many times they retreat. The repeated return, especially when paired with that flustered break, indicates that the looking is emotionally charged, that there is something at stake for them in the act of looking, and that something is you. Notice, too, the emotional coloring of the retreat. When someone looks away out of disinterest or discomfort, the look away tends to be final. They look away and they stay away. Their attention moves on to other things and does not come back. But the attraction-driven look away is different. It is temporary. It is a brief retreat, a gathering of courage, a momentary hiding before the inevitable return. And often it is accompanied by small signs of fluster, a slight blush, a nervous smile, a sudden fidget, all of which confirm that the looking away was not indifference but its very opposite, an excess of feeling that briefly overwhelmed them. There is something deeply touching about this clue when you really understand it. It is the sign of someone who wants to look at you more than they can bear to admit, someone whose desire to gaze at you keeps overpowering their fear of being seen doing so. Each return is a small act of quiet courage. Each glance back says, "I could not stay away. I tried to hide, but I had to look again." And when you see this pattern repeating, this tender dance of retreat and return, you are watching a heart that is drawn to you far more powerfully than its owner is yet ready to confess. Clue number 3. Pupils that grow wide in your presence. The third clue is one that people cannot fake, cannot control, and usually do not even know is happening. It is the dilation of the pupils, and it may be the single most honest signal the human body produces. Let me start by explaining what the pupils actually are and how they work, because understanding the mechanism is what makes this clue so trustworthy and so fascinating. Your pupils are the small black openings at the center of your eyes. They are not solid objects. They are apertures, openings that grow larger or smaller to control how much light enters the eye, much like the aperture of a camera. In bright conditions, the pupils contract, becoming small, to protect the sensitive interior of the eye from too much light. In dim conditions, they expand, becoming large, to gather as much of the available light as possible so that we can see. But here is the remarkable thing, the thing that makes pupils such an extraordinary window into the inner life. They do not respond only to light. They also respond to our internal emotional and psychological state, and they do this automatically through the autonomic nervous system, the same system that controls your heartbeat, your breathing, and countless other functions that operate without any conscious input from you whatsoever. You cannot decide to dilate your pupils. You cannot will them larger or smaller. They respond to what is actually happening inside of you, completely beyond your conscious control. And one of the things that causes pupils to dilate, to grow larger, is emotional and physical arousal, including the specific kind of arousal that comes from looking at someone we find deeply attractive. When a person who is falling for you looks at you, their pupils may quietly expand. The dark centers of their eyes grow, letting in more light, quite literally opening up to take in more of you. It is as though the eye itself is trying to gather as much of you as it possibly can, to drink you in more fully, to admit more of your image into the deepest chambers of perception. This is an ancient, primal response, wired deep into human biology long before language ever existed, long before our ancestors had words for love or attraction or desire. It is a response we share, in various forms, with many other creatures. It operates at a level far below thought, far below choice, far below the sophisticated social performances we humans are so skilled at staging. When the pupils dilate in response to an attractive person, the body is telling a truth that the conscious mind has no ability to censor. There is even fascinating historical evidence of how deeply humans have intuited this connection, if not consciously understood it. In certain periods of history, it is said that some people would use particular substances to artificially enlarge their pupils, believing that the wide, dark-eyed look made them more appealing and more attractive to others. And there is a certain logic to this, because we do tend to perceive people with larger pupils as warmer, more attractive, and more approachable, precisely because large pupils unconsciously signal interest and arousal toward us. We are, in a sense, drawn to the sign that someone is drawn to us. Now, I want to be completely honest with you about the practical challenge here, because I never want to lead you astray. Pupil dilation is influenced by lighting as well, and this is a genuine complication that you must keep in mind. In a dim room, pupils naturally enlarge to gather light, and in bright light, they contract to protect the eye. So you cannot read too much into a single moment, observed under uncontrolled conditions. If you are in a dark restaurant, everyone's pupils will be large, and that tells you nothing about their feelings. This is why, as always, context is everything, and why no single observation should ever be treated as proof. But here is how you can use this clue intelligently. If you are in a stable, consistent light environment, one that is not changing, and you notice that this person's eyes seem especially dark, especially wide, especially open when they turn toward you, and if this pattern seems to hold across different occasions and different lighting conditions, then you may be witnessing one of the most genuine and involuntary signals of attraction that the human body produces. Watch, in particular, for changes. If their pupils seem to expand in the moment they turn their attention fully onto you, while the lighting around you has not changed at all, that shift is meaningful. There is something almost miraculous about this clue when you stop to consider it. Here is a signal that cannot lie, that cannot be faked, that cannot be suppressed or controlled, that operates entirely beyond the reach of the conscious will. Someone might be doing everything in their power to appear casual and unaffected. They might have their words perfectly under control, their tone carefully measured, their expression composed. And yet, If they are truly drawn to you, the black centers of their eyes will quietly betray them, opening wide to take you in, telling the truth that all their careful composure was trying to hide. The eyes quite literally cannot help but open toward what the heart desires. Clue number 4. The triangle gaze across your face. The fourth clue involves something you might never have thought to notice, and yet once you understand it, it becomes one of the most revealing patterns you can observe. It is the actual path, the actual route that a person's eyes trace when they look at your face. Here is something that researchers who study nonverbal communication have observed and documented. The way we move our eyes across another person's face is not random. It follows patterns, and those patterns reveal the nature of our interest and the quality of our attention. Our gaze, when it rests on another human face, tends to travel in a kind of triangle, moving between key points, and the shape and location of that triangle tells a story about what we feel and what we want. When we are dealing with someone in a purely social or casual way, when the interaction is friendly but not romantic, our gaze tends to move in a relatively small triangle between the person's two eyes and occasionally up toward the forehead. It stays in the upper region of the face. This is the ordinary, comfortable, businesslike pattern of everyday social interaction. It is respectful, it is appropriate, and it keeps the exchange squarely in the territory of friendly, non-romantic connection. When you talk to a colleague, a shopkeeper, a casual acquaintance, this is most likely the pattern your own eyes are following without your ever thinking about it. But when attraction enters the picture, that triangle shifts and expands, and the shift is toward the lower part of the face. The gaze now travels in a larger triangle, one that reaches down to include the mouth. The person's eyes will move from your eyes down to your lips and back up again, tracing this new expanded path. And sometimes the triangle extends even further, taking in the whole of your face and even beyond, as attraction draws the gaze to explore more and more of you. That downward drift toward the mouth is enormously significant, and here is why. The lips are strongly and universally associated with intimacy, with kissing, with closeness, with the physical expressions of romantic and sensual connection. This association runs deep in the human psyche. So when someone's gaze keeps sliding down toward your mouth while you are speaking, especially when they seem to do it unconsciously and perhaps even catch themselves at it, their subconscious is signaling a desire for a kind of closeness that goes well beyond friendship. The eyes are drifting toward the site of a kiss because, at some level, some part of them is thinking about exactly that. The person doing this is very often completely unaware of it. That is what makes it such a trustworthy signal. They are not consciously deciding to look at your lips. They are simply following the pull of their own attraction, and that pull is guiding their eyes downward, toward the mouth, toward the imagined intimacy that their feelings are quietly yearning for. Their eyes are drawing a map of where their feelings want to go, and they do not even realize they are holding the pen. You can observe this most easily during conversation, when there is a natural reason for the eyes to be on your face. Watch whether their gaze stays up in the eye region, businesslike and social, or whether it keeps dipping down toward your mouth. Watch for that repeated flicker, eyes to lips and back to eyes, the telltale pattern of the expanded, attraction-driven triangle. Notice whether it happens especially in moments of closeness, of warmth, of quiet connection, because those are the moments when attraction is most active and most likely to guide the gaze. And here is a lovely subtlety to watch for. Sometimes, in a moment of particular tenderness or tension, the gaze will drop to the lips and linger there just a fraction of a second too long before returning to the eyes. That lingering drop is the strongest form of this signal. It is the eyes pausing at the destination their feelings most desire, hesitating there, before duty and social awareness pull them back up to the safer territory of the eyes. When you notice this, when you catch that downward glance at your lips holding just a beat longer than it should, you are seeing attraction expressing itself in one of its most unmistakable and most intimate forms. Clue number 5. Eyes that search for you across a room. The fifth clue takes us out of the intimate one-on-one setting and into the busy, crowded, chaotic environments where so much of real life actually happens. Because attraction does not only reveal itself in quiet moments alone together, it reveals itself powerfully and unmistakably in how a person behaves toward you when surrounded by many others. Imagine the scene: a party full of people and noise and movement, a classroom or a lecture hall, a busy office, a large family gathering, a social event of any kind where dozens of people are present and there are countless things competing for everyone's attention. In such an environment, there are so many faces to look at, so many conversations to join, so many distractions pulling in every direction. A person's gaze in such a setting could go absolutely anywhere. And yet, when someone is falling for you, their eyes keep finding you. Again and again, across all that distance and all that chaos, their attention returns to you like a compass needle swinging back to north. You will glance up and catch them looking at you from across the room. You will move to a different area, join a different conversation, and after a little while, you will feel that unmistakable sensation, that prickle of awareness that tells you someone is watching. And when you turn, there they are, their eyes already on you, having tracked your movement through the crowd. This is what psychologists sometimes describe as visual-seeking behavior, and it is a profound revelation of where a person's true attention and true priorities lie. Here is the underlying principle. In any environment, our attention naturally and automatically gravitates toward what matters most to us. It is not something we decide. It is something that happens to us, driven by our deepest priorities and attachments. Consider how a new parent in a crowded and busy park will unconsciously and continuously track the location of their child, their eyes flicking back to that small figure again and again, no matter what else is happening around them, no matter what conversation they are engaged in. The child is what matters most, and so the attention keeps returning there, automatically, protectively, lovingly. The same principle governs the behavior of someone who is developing deep feelings. Their attention keeps returning to the person those feelings are about. You have become, in that crowded room, the thing that matters most to their attention, the fixed point around which their awareness orbits. They cannot help it. Even when they are talking to others, even when they are engaged in something else, some part of their attention remains tuned to you, tracking you, aware of where you are, drawn back to you again and again. The key here, as always, is frequency and consistency. This is what separates meaningful signal from meaningless coincidence. Anyone might happen to glance your way once or twice over the course of an evening, purely by chance, with no significance whatsoever. A single glance across a room means nothing. But when you begin to notice that this particular person's eyes seem to orbit around you no matter where you go, no matter how many other people are present, no matter how the crowd shifts and moves, then you are witnessing something far more than coincidence. You are witnessing the gravitational pull of genuine attachment. Their attention has quietly, and probably without their full awareness, chosen you as its center of gravity. There is something else worth noticing here, a subtle refinement of this clue. Pay attention to when their eyes seek you out. Often it happens in moments of significance, in moments they instinctively want to share. Something funny happens, and their eyes immediately dart to you to see if you saw it too, to share the moment with you across the room. Something interesting or surprising occurs, and again their gaze flies to you. This reveals not just attention, but a desire for connection, a reflexive impulse to share their experience with you specifically, as though experiences do not feel complete unless you are included in them. That reflexive seeking of your eyes in meaningful moments is one of the tenderest forms of this clue, because it shows that you have become their chosen person, the one they instinctively turn to, even across a crowded and distracting room. The sixth clue is subtle, and it requires you to observe not the direction of the gaze, not where the eyes are pointed, but its texture, its emotional quality, the feeling that seems to live within it, because the eyes do not simply point in directions. They carry temperature, they carry mood, they carry the whole emotional weather of the person behind them, and one of the most beautiful weather patterns you can witness is the softening of the eyes. Let me describe exactly what this looks like so that you will recognize it when you see it. When someone is falling for you, a remarkable transformation happens to their eyes as you speak. They soften. The tension around the eyes releases. The small muscles that surround the eye, which we hold tight when we are guarded, alert, stressed, or on our defenses, simply relax and let go. There is a warmth that spreads across the face, an openness, an almost tender quality that settles into their gaze and stays there while they watch you and listen to you. It is the visible, physical difference between merely looking at someone and truly gazing at them, between observing and cherishing. You have almost certainly seen this softening before, even if you never had a name for it. It is the way a parent looks at a sleeping child. It is the way old friends look at one another after years apart. It is the look of someone whose defenses have come down entirely, who feels no need to protect themselves, who is simply fully present with the person in front of them, held by affection. This softening is closely connected to a particular chemical response happening inside the body, one involving a substance sometimes called the bonding hormone. This substance is associated with feelings of trust, warmth, calm, and deep emotional connection, and it plays a central role in the formation of the profound attachments that bind human beings together. The bonds between parents and children, between long-term partners, between the people who become most precious to us. As feelings develop, as attachment grows, the mere presence of the beloved begins to trigger this gentle chemical response. And that internal chemistry shows up quite visibly on the outside in the relaxation and warming of the eyes. What you are seeing when you see those eyes soften is the outward sign of an inward bonding process taking place. Now, contrast this with the eyes of someone who is merely being polite, because the contrast is instructive and will sharpen your ability to tell the difference. Polite attention has a certain flatness to it, a controlled, even managed quality. The person is present and attentive, yes, but there is a kind of neutrality to it, a surface pleasantness that does not reach down into anything deeper. It is perfectly nice and perfectly hollow. There is no particular warmth radiating from it, because there is no particular feeling generating it. But the softened gaze of someone falling in love has depth. It has genuine feeling behind it. It has a glow, a warmth, an emotional richness that you can sense even if you cannot articulate it. When you speak and you notice their whole expression grow gentle, almost as if they are enjoying not merely the content of what you are saying, but the very fact that it is you saying it, that it is your voice, your face, your presence filling the moment, then you are seeing affection quietly revealing itself. They are not just listening to your words, they are basking in your presence, and the eyes, softened and warm, are the unmistakable evidence of it. Watch for this, especially in ordinary, unremarkable moments, because that is where it is most telling. Anyone might look warmly at you during some grand emotional exchange. But if their eyes go soft and tender while you are talking about something completely mundane, some trivial detail of your day, some small, ordinary thing, then it is not the topic warming their gaze. It is you. It is simply and entirely you. Clue number 7. Mirrored, blinking, and synchronized rhythm. The 7th clue is one of the most fascinating of all, because it operates almost entirely beneath the surface of conscious awareness, in a hidden layer of human connection that most people never even realize exists. It is the phenomenon of synchronized behavior, and in particular synchronized blinking and the subtle matching of rhythm between two people who are deeply connected. Let me lay the foundation. Human beings, when they feel a genuine sense of connection and attunement with one another, begin to unconsciously synchronize their behaviors. This is a well-documented feature of close human relationships, and it goes by names like mirroring, or behavioral synchrony, or limbic resonance. What it means, in plain terms, is that people who are emotionally in tune with each other start, without any conscious intention, to match one another. They match their gestures. They match their posture, leaning in at the same time, shifting at the same time. They match their breathing, their rhythms of speech, the pace of their movements, and yes, they even match the rhythm of their blinking. This synchrony is not something people decide to do. In fact, if you tried to do it deliberately, it would feel forced and awkward and would look completely unnatural. It happens on its own, automatically, as a byproduct of genuine connection. It is one of the ways that two nervous systems, two whole human beings, quietly fall into harmony with one another. And precisely because it cannot be faked, because it emerges only from real attunement, it is a deeply trustworthy indicator of the state of a connection. Blinking is a particularly interesting behavior to consider in this context. Our blink rate is not fixed. It changes according to our internal state. When we are emotionally engaged, interested, and stimulated, our blink rate tends to increase. When someone is genuinely captivated by you, absorbed in the conversation, and drawn to your presence, their blink rate may rise as a reflection of that heightened engagement and mild, pleasant arousal. And over the course of a long, connected, flowing conversation, something even more remarkable can occur. Their blinking may begin to fall into rhythm with yours, a silent, subconscious dance. The two of you blinking in a kind of loose harmony, each nervous system quietly attuning itself to the other, a hidden signal of deep connection playing out in a behavior neither of you is even aware of. Now let me be practical and honest with you, as I always want to be. You are not going to sit across from someone with a stopwatch, timing their blinks and comparing them to your own. That would be absurd, and frankly, if you tried, the intensity of your staring would probably disrupt the very naturalness you were trying to observe. I would not want you to do that, and you could not do it well even if you tried. This is not a clue you measure, it is a clue you feel. Here is what you can actually notice, what you can genuinely perceive. You may notice a certain feeling of being in sync with this person, a sense that the conversation has a rhythm to it, an ease, a natural flow that you simply do not experience with most people. Conversations with them feel smooth, harmonious, effortless, as though the two of you are moving together, as though you are somehow tuned to the same frequency. Words come easily. Silences feel comfortable rather than awkward. There is a give and take, a back and forth, that seems to require no effort at all. That feeling of effortless rhythm and easy harmony is very often the surface sensation of the deeper synchrony happening underneath, in the eyes, in the breathing, in the countless tiny behaviors that two attuned nervous systems automatically coordinate. When you feel that remarkable ease with someone, that sense of being naturally in step with them, you are very likely experiencing the felt result of unconscious synchronization. And that synchronization is one of the surest signs that a real and deep connection is forming between the two of you. a connection your bodies recognize even before your conscious minds have fully caught up. Clue number 8. The smile that reaches the eyes. The 8th clue is about one of the most important distinctions in all of human expression, a distinction so significant that once you truly grasp it, you will read people differently for the rest of your life. It is the profound difference between a smile that lives only on the mouth and a smile that fills the entire face, including and especially the eyes. There is a specific kind of genuine, deeply felt smile that scientists have studied and documented for well over a century, since the 1800s, when researchers first began to carefully catalogue the muscles of human facial expression. What distinguishes this true, heartfelt smile from a merely social or polite one is not the mouth, it is the eyes. And more specifically, it is the involvement of a particular set of muscles that surround the eyes. Let me explain the mechanics, because they are the key to everything. In a fake or purely social smile, only the muscles around the mouth are engaged. The corners of the lips pull upward, the teeth may show, and there you have it, a perfectly serviceable social smile. The kind we all produce dozens of times a day, out of politeness and social convention. But in a true, genuine, felt smile, something more happens. In addition to the mouth lifting, the cheeks rise, and crucially, the muscles around the eyes contract, causing the skin at the outer corners of the eyes to crinkle, forming those small lines that we sometimes call laugh lines or crow's feet. The eyes themselves seem to narrow slightly, to warm, to shine, to come alive. And here is the absolutely critical detail, the fact that makes this such a powerful and reliable clue. The muscle responsible for that crinkling around the eyes is extremely difficult to activate voluntarily. Most people simply cannot fake it. They can pull their mouth into a smile at will, easily, on command, but they cannot consciously command the muscles around their eyes to produce that genuine crinkle. Those muscles respond only to true, felt, spontaneous emotion. They are wired to authentic feeling and to authentic feeling alone. This means that when you see a genuine smile that reaches all the way up into someone's eyes, making them shine and narrow and crinkle with warmth, you are seeing something that cannot be manufactured. You are seeing real, involuntary, genuine joy. This is why some smiles feel warm and real and go straight to your heart, while others feel flat and empty and leave you strangely cold, even when you cannot quite explain why. The difference is in the eyes. Your own intuition has always been able to detect this difference, even if you never had the words for it. You have always known on some level the difference between a smile that was truly meant and a smile that was merely performed. Now you know exactly where that difference lives. It lives in the eyes. So watch the eyes when this person smiles at you, and watch carefully. A polite smile, offered out of mere social obligation, leaves the eyes largely unchanged. The mouth curves, but the eyes stay flat and neutral. But a smile born of true affection transforms the entire upper face. The eyes light up, they sparkle, they crinkle at the corners. The whole face seems to brighten and glow from within. And that transformation, that full and genuine lighting up of the eyes, is one of the most reliable and one of the most beautiful indicators in existence that your presence brings this person authentic, spontaneous, uncontrollable happiness. Pay attention too to how often this genuine smile appears and to what triggers it. If simply seeing you, simply being near you, simply hearing you speak reliably produces that full-faced, eye-crinkling, genuine smile, then your very presence is a source of true joy to them. And joy of that kind, spontaneous and involuntary and impossible to fake, is one of the deepest signs that someone is falling for you. Clue number 9. Prolonged eye contact during laughter. The ninth clue occurs in one of the most revealing and most emotionally honest moments of any human interaction: the moment of shared laughter. Laughter is a special window into a person's feelings because it catches them off guard. It is a moment of spontaneity, of lowered defenses, of genuine reaction, and what a person does with their eyes in that unguarded instant can tell you a great deal. Here is what I want you to pay close attention to. Watch what happens in the instant right after something funny is said, in the moment when you and this person both begin to laugh together. Now, most people, in the throes of genuine laughter, do a particular thing. They look away. They look down or up or off to the side. There is a reason for this. Laughter is a moment of vulnerability, a small loss of control, a moment when our composure briefly breaks and something real and unguarded escapes. And because it carries that flavor of vulnerability, many people instinctively break eye contact during laughter, as if to give themselves a small measure of privacy in that exposed moment. But watch for the person who does the opposite. Watch for the one who, right in the middle of laughing, in the very moment of that shared amusement, seeks out your eyes and holds them. This person is not merely enjoying the joke. They are enjoying the joke with you, specifically and deliberately with you, and they want to share the moment directly, eye to eye, in the most immediate and intimate way that human beings can share anything. Instead of retreating into the privacy of their own laughter, they turn outward, toward you, using the laughter as a bridge to reach you, to connect with you, to make the joyful moment a shared possession rather than a private one. This behavior is deeply telling, and here is why it matters so much. It reveals a powerful desire to share emotional experiences, and the sharing of emotional experiences is an absolute cornerstone of romantic connection and deep bonding. Think about it. It is one thing to feel joy on your own. It is another thing entirely to instinctively turn toward a specific person in order to share that joy in the most direct way possible, through locked eyes, through connection, through the wordless communication of a shared gaze in a shared moment of delight. That impulse to share reveals that this person's joy feels more complete, more real, more meaningful when it is experienced together with you. When someone consistently locks eyes with you during moments of laughter, when their instinct in a moment of delight is to reach for your eyes rather than to look away, they are telling you something profound without a single spoken word. They are telling you that their happiest, most spontaneous moments feel incomplete unless they are shared with you. They are telling you that you have become the person they instinctively want beside them in moments of joy. And that instinct, that reflexive turning toward you in delight, is one of the tender, reliable signatures of a heart that is falling. There is a lovely intensity to this shared laughter eye contact as well. Because laughter lowers our defenses, the eye contact that happens during it often carries an unusual openness and warmth, a rawness that more guarded moments lack. In that brief window of shared amusement, with defenses down and hearts open, the gaze that meets yours can carry a startling amount of feeling. Notice it. Treasure it. It is one of the truest things you will see. Clue number 10. The flustered look when caught. The 10th clue is one of the most endearing and one of the most revealing of them all, and it centers on a very specific moment. The reaction that occurs in the instant when you catch them looking at you. We have touched on adjacent ideas already, but here I want to focus entirely on the emotional reaction, the little burst of feeling that accompanies the moment of being caught, because that reaction is where the truth lives. Let me set the scene precisely. There is a moment, and you have probably experienced it, when you unexpectedly meet the eyes of someone who was already looking at you. Perhaps you turned suddenly, or looked up without warning, and there they were, their gaze already resting on you, caught in the act of watching you when they did not expect to be seen. Now, watch their face very carefully in that split second. because an enormous amount is revealed in that tiny window of time before they have any chance to compose themselves. When someone is falling for you, that moment of being caught produces a distinct and visible reaction. You may see a flash of surprise, a quick widening of the eyes, the startled look of someone caught off guard. And then, following swiftly on the heels of that surprise, comes a wave of self-consciousness. They may blush, color rising in their cheeks. They may fumble, losing their words or their train of thought for a moment. They may suddenly become intensely, unconvincingly interested in something else, their phone, their drink, a spot on the wall, an imaginary something in the middle distance, anything to cover the exposure of having been caught looking. They may laugh nervously or smile a small embarrassed smile or physically shift in their seat. This flustered reaction is enormously significant because it reveals beyond any doubt that the looking meant something, and this is the whole key to the clue. Consider the alternative. If a person looks at you casually, with no emotional investment, with no secret feeling attached to the act, then being caught produces no strong reaction whatsoever. They simply hold your gaze, or smile easily, or give a friendly nod, or continue on exactly as before, entirely unbothered, because there was nothing to hide, no vulnerability exposed, no secret revealed. Being caught looking is only embarrassing if the looking was meaningful. But when being caught produces genuine embarrassment, real nervousness, a blush, a fumble, a sudden scramble to cover, it means the act of looking was charged with feeling. It means there was something there, something private, something they were not ready to reveal, and being caught felt like being exposed precisely because they were, in fact, exposed. Their guard slipped, and their true feeling was briefly on display, and the fluster is the sound of them scrambling to raise that guard back up again, too late, after you have already glimpsed what lay behind it. That flash of vulnerability, that moment of being caught with their defenses down, is one of the truest windows into the heart that you will ever be given. In that instant, their careful composure cracks. The mask slips, and in the crack, in the slip, in the blush and the fumble and the flustered scramble, you can see, plainly and unmistakably, the genuine feeling they have been trying so carefully to conceal. They looked at you because they wanted to, because they could not help it, and getting caught wanting to look at you is exactly what has flustered them so completely. There are few clearer signs of a heart that is falling than the sweet, helpless embarrassment of being caught in the act of gazing at the person it has quietly begun to adore. Clue number 11. Eyes that widen when you enter. The 11th clue happens in a single, fleeting, almost impossibly brief instant, and yet it is one of the most honest reactions the human face can produce. It is the moment you first appear, the very second you come into someone's view, and what their eyes do in that first unguarded fraction of a second. Here is the scene. You walk into a room, you come around a corner into their line of sight. You approach them across a space. You appear suddenly where a moment ago you were not. And in that first instant of seeing you, before they have any time at all to arrange their expression, to compose themselves, to manage how they appear, their eyes will do something involuntary. If they are falling for you, their eyes will often widen, just briefly, in a spontaneous flash of recognition and delight. The eyebrows may lift. The eyes may open a fraction wider than normal. The whole face seems to brighten, to lift, to come alive for a fraction of a second, illuminated by the simple fact of your arrival. This has a name in the study of human behavior. It is sometimes called the eyebrow flash, and it refers to a rapid, unconscious raising of the eyebrows that occurs when we see someone we are genuinely happy to encounter. It happens quickly, in a fraction of a second, and then it is gone, the face returning to a more composed and managed state. But in that brief flash, the truth escapes. The eyebrow flash is a universal human signal. It has been observed by researchers across an enormous range of different cultures all over the world, in societies that had no contact with one another, which tells us that it is not a learned social custom, but something deeper, something built into human nature itself. It is part of our shared inheritance as a species, a wordless signal of recognition, positive regard, and welcome. The reason this clue is so valuable, so trustworthy, is precisely because it is so fast and so involuntary. Speed is honesty. That first reaction happens before the conscious mind can get involved, before the person has any opportunity to think about how they want to appear, before they can hide their delight behind a mask of casual indifference. Many people, once they have had a second to compose themselves, will present a much cooler, more guarded face to the world, especially if they are trying to conceal their feelings, especially if they are not yet ready to reveal how much you mean to them. But that first involuntary instant, that split second before composure takes over, escapes their control entirely. And in that instant, their genuine reaction is written plainly across their face for anyone watching closely enough to see. So, if you can catch that first instant, that initial fraction of a second when you first come into their view, and if what you see there is a brightening of the eyes, a lift of the eyebrows, a sudden illumination of the whole face, then you can be quite confident that your arrival brings them a spontaneous, involuntary rush of joy, not manufactured joy. Not polite, socially expected pleasure, genuine, uncontrollable, from the heart happiness at the simple fact that you are here, that you have appeared, that you are once again in their presence. This is a clue that rewards attentiveness because it happens so fast and vanishes so quickly. You have to be looking at the right moment, at the moment of your arrival, to catch it. But once you learn to watch for it, you will be amazed at how much it reveals. The face, in that first instant of seeing someone it loves, simply cannot help but light up. And when you see it light up for you, again and again, each time you appear, you are watching a heart announce its feelings in the oldest, most honest language there is. Clue number 12. The gaze that drops and rises, shyly. The 12th clue is the shy, downward glance, followed by the gentle lifting of the eyes again, a gesture that is as old as romance itself, so ancient and so universal that it has been depicted in art and poetry for as long as human beings have been recording their feelings about love. There is something timeless and deeply touching about it, and once you understand what it means, you will find it profoundly moving to witness. Here is what happens. Sometimes when someone is developing tender, genuine feelings for you, direct eye contact becomes almost too much to bear. This may seem strange at first, but think about it. Eye contact is intimate, and when strong feelings are involved, that intimacy is intensified enormously. Meeting the eyes of someone we are falling for can feel overwhelming, like standing too close to a fire, like an intensity that is wonderful and unbearable at the same time. And so, unable to sustain that intensity, they look down. They break the contact, not out of disinterest, not out of a desire to escape, but out of an excess of feeling, an overflow of emotion that momentarily exceeds what they can comfortably hold while looking directly into your eyes. And then, having gathered themselves, having caught their breath, having built up a little courage, they lift their eyes again. Often this upward return is accompanied by a small, shy smile, a soft and slightly bashful expression, the look of someone who knows they have revealed something and is a little shy about it, but cannot quite help returning to your gaze anyway. The eyes drop, and then they rise, shyly, tenderly, and the whole small gesture carries an unmistakable sweetness. Now, it is very important to distinguish this shy downward glance from a completely different behavior that can superficially resemble it. namely the disinterested or avoidant looking away of someone who wants to escape a conversation or who feels no connection to you at all. These two things can look similar to an untrained eye, but they are worlds apart in meaning, and the accompanying signals tell you which is which. The avoidant, disinterested look away is typically accompanied by other signs of wanting to disengage. The body turns away, angling toward an exit. The eyes scan the room, searching for something more interesting or for an escape route. There is a restlessness, a sense of someone who would rather be elsewhere. The look away is a symptom of wanting to leave. But the shy downward glance of attraction is accompanied by an entirely different set of signals. It comes with softness, not restlessness. It comes with a smile, not a scan for the exit. The body typically remains oriented towards you, even leaning in, even as the eyes drop. And most tellingly of all, the eyes come back. The person is not trying to get away from you at all, quite the opposite. They are simply managing feelings so strong, so intense, that they cannot always meet your eyes directly without being overwhelmed, and so they look down to steady themselves before returning again and again to the gaze they cannot stay away from. There is a profound vulnerability in this gesture, and that vulnerability is exactly what makes it so meaningful. To look down shyly and then to look back up is to acknowledge without a single word that the other person has a powerful effect on you, an effect strong enough to make you bashful, strong enough to make you shy, strong enough that you cannot always hold their gaze. It is the body's honest way of saying, "You make me feel things that I do not quite know how to hold. You affect me more than I can easily manage. You matter to me in a way that makes me shy in your presence." When you see this pattern, this tender dropping and rising of the eyes, this shy retreat and shyer return, you are seeing genuine emotional impact, the visible evidence of a heart that is stirred and moved and quietly, sweetly, falling. The 13th clue is a quality of attention so complete, so total, so undivided, that the rest of the world seems to fade away and dissolve into insignificance. It is the kind of focus that we all secretly long to receive from another person, and it is one of the clearest signs that someone's heart has become deeply invested in you. Here is what I mean. When someone is falling for you, conversations with you take on a fundamentally different character from ordinary conversations. Their focus becomes absolute, singular, all-consuming. The ordinary distractions of daily life, the loud noises, the passing people, the buzzing and chiming of phones, the countless small interruptions that fragment most of our interactions, seem to lose their power over this person entirely. Their eyes stay locked on you. Their attention remains anchored to you, and you can feel, unmistakably, that you have their complete and undivided attention, that in this moment you are the entire focus of their awareness. This kind of intense, distraction-proof focus is a hallmark of deep engagement and profound emotional investment, and to understand why, we need to think about the nature of attention itself. Attention is one of the most limited and precious resources a human being possesses. We cannot attend to everything at once. In every moment, our brains are constantly filtering, selecting, choosing what to focus on, and what to let fade into the background. And here is the crucial point. Where we choose to spend our attention reveals, more honestly than almost anything else, what we truly value and what truly matters to us. We give our attention to what our hearts have decided is important. So when a person consistently gives you their full, undivided attention, when they ignore the ordinary distractions that would easily pull most people away, they are demonstrating something significant. They are showing, through the deployment of their most precious cognitive resource, that in that moment, nothing and no one is more important to them than you. Their attention has ranked you above everything else in the environment, and attention does not lie about such things. You cannot fake genuine, sustained, distraction-proof focus for long. It flows naturally only toward what we genuinely care about. You can observe this gently and naturally, without ever making it strange, simply by noticing what happens when a genuine distraction occurs. A loud sound erupts nearby. A friend passes by and waves. A phone lights up with a notification on the table between you. In these moments, watch what this person does. Many people, most people in fact, will glance reflexively toward the distraction. This is completely normal and natural, an automatic orienting response that is built into us. But the person who is deeply drawn to you may barely register the distraction at all, or they may glance at it briefly and then immediately, almost impatiently, return their full attention to you, as though slightly annoyed that anything dared to interrupt the connection between you. That reluctance to look away from you, even when the world is actively trying to pull their eyes elsewhere, speaks volumes. It tells you that you have become the center of their attentional universe, the thing they least want to look away from, the focus they are reluctant to surrender even for a moment. In a world absolutely saturated with distractions, in an age where everyone's attention is fractured and pulled in 1,000 directions at once, the gift of someone's complete, undivided, distraction-proof attention has become rare and precious. And when someone gives it to you freely and consistently, when they seem to forget the rest of the world exists whenever they are talking with you, they are revealing that you have become, quite simply, the thing that matters most. Clue number 14. The slow blink of comfort and trust. The 14th clue is quiet, subtle, and deeply meaningful, and it concerns something you would probably never think to notice unless someone pointed it out to you: the slow, relaxed, unhurried blink. Because the way a person blinks, the very tempo and quality of their blinking, carries information about their internal state, and in particular about how safe and comfortable they feel in your presence. Let me explain the different qualities of blinking so you can recognize what you are seeing. When human beings feel anxious, stressed, alert, or on edge, their blinking tends to take on a certain character. It may become rapid and nervous, a flurry of quick blinks that betray inner agitation, or the eyes may go wide and alert, blinking sharply and infrequently in a state of vigilance, watching for threat. These are the eyes of someone whose nervous system is activated, defensive, ready for something to go wrong. There is a tension in them, a wariness, a guardedness. But when human beings feel safe, comfortable, and emotionally at ease in someone's presence, their blinking changes entirely. It slows down, it softens, it becomes languid, unhurried, relaxed, sometimes with an almost sleepy or dreamy quality to it. The eyes close gently and open gently, without haste, without tension, in the easy rhythm of someone whose nervous system has settled into a state of peace and security. This slow, soft, comfortable blinking is the physical signature of relaxation and trust, the outward sign of a person who feels no need to be on guard. And this matters enormously in the context of falling in love, more than you might initially realize, because love is built on a foundation of safety. This is one of the great truths of human connection. For deep feelings to develop and take root, a person must feel that they can let their guard down in your presence. They must feel that they do not need to be defensive, that they do not need to protect themselves, that they can relax into your company and be at ease. Without that sense of safety, love cannot fully grow, because love requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires safety. We can only open our hearts to those in whose presence we feel secure. The slow, comfortable blink is a physical manifestation of exactly that safety. It is the body's honest report that the nervous system has relaxed, that the guard has come down, that this person feels at peace in your company. It says, without words, I feel safe with you. I feel at ease with you. I do not need to protect myself here. I can let my guard down and simply be. And that is no small thing. In fact, it is one of the most important preconditions for love that exists. So when you notice that this person seems relaxed and unguarded around you, when their whole manner is easy and comfortable, when their eyes have that soft, slow, peaceful quality to their blinking, rather than the sharp, quick, vigilant quality of someone on edge, you are witnessing a profound form of trust taking shape. They have let you inside their defenses. They have decided at a level far below conscious thought that you are safe, that you are someone in whose presence they can finally relax. And that trust, that sense of safety, is the fertile ground in which love grows. When someone feels that peaceful and that safe with you, their heart is being prepared, whether they know it or not, to fall. Clue number 15. Eyes that well up with emotion. The 15th clue is rarer than the others, more intense and more profound, and it appears only when feelings have grown genuinely deep, when they have moved past the early stages of attraction and into the territory of real, weighty emotional investment. It is the subtle welling of emotion in the eyes, the faint shimmer of feeling that rises up when the heart is truly and deeply moved. Here is what this looks like, though I want to be clear that it is subtle and will not appear in every interaction or even in most. Sometimes in a moment of particular connection, tenderness, or emotional significance, you may notice that this person's eyes seem to grow slightly glassy, slightly bright, shimmering faintly, with the barely perceptible presence of unshed emotion. There may be a brightness there, a wetness at the very edge, a shine that was not there a moment before. Perhaps you have just shared something meaningful with one another. Perhaps there has been a moment of genuine mutual understanding, a feeling of being truly seen and known. Perhaps they are simply looking at you and feeling all at once the full weight of what you have come to mean to them, the enormity of the feeling that has grown inside them, and it rises up and shows itself, just faintly, in the eyes. This welling of emotion is a powerful and unmistakable signal, because it reveals that their feelings for you have moved far beyond the surface level of ordinary attraction and into the much deeper territory of genuine, profound emotional investment. And this is simply how human beings are made. We do not tear up. We do not feel that swell of emotion in the eyes over people we are merely mildly interested in. We do not get misty-eyed over casual acquaintances or passing fancies. That kind of emotional response is reserved for the people who genuinely touch our hearts, who move us at a deep level, who matter to us profoundly, who have become woven into the fabric of what we care about most. The welling of the eyes is the body's tribute to feelings that run deep. Of course, as I have said, this is a subtle clue, and it is one that will not appear often. It emerges only in particular moments, quiet and tender ones, moments of real emotional depth and connection. You will not see it in casual, everyday exchanges. But precisely because it is so rare and requires such depth of feeling to produce, it is all the more meaningful when you do witness it. It is a clue that cannot appear unless the feeling behind it is truly and genuinely deep. So watch for it in those quiet, tender, significant moments. If you notice in such a moment that this person's eyes seem unusually bright, that there is a shimmer of feeling there that they may even be quietly trying to blink away or control, that their gaze has taken on a glassy, emotional quality while they look at you, then you may be witnessing the visible evidence of feelings that have grown very deep indeed. You are seeing, in the shimmer of their eyes, the reflection of a heart that has been genuinely, profoundly moved by you. And there are few more powerful signs than that of a person who is not merely attracted to you, but who has truly, deeply come to care. Clue number 16. The gaze that studies your face. The 16th clue is the loving, absorbed, almost studious way that someone examines your face when they think you are not fully aware of it, or when they are so caught up in the act that they have forgotten to be self-conscious about it. It goes beyond simple eye contact into something richer, something more devoted, something that reveals a genuine fascination with you as a person. Let me describe this particular kind of looking because it has a distinct quality that sets it apart from ordinary gazing. There is a way that a person will study your face, taking in your features one by one, slowly and appreciatively, as though trying to memorize you, as though committing every detail of you to permanent memory. They look at your eyes, and then perhaps down to your smile, and then to some small particular detail, a freckle, the exact way your hair falls across your forehead, the shape of your hands as you gesture, the curve of your expression when you laugh. It is an absorbing, appreciative, almost reverent kind of attention, the way a person might look at a work of art that has captivated them, that they cannot quite believe is real, that they want to examine in every detail because every detail delights them. This studying gaze reveals a profound desire to know you completely, to take in every aspect of you, to hold the full image of you clearly in memory. And this connects to something deep about the nature of love and affection. When we begin to love someone, we become genuinely fascinated by the particulars of them, by the small and specific details that make them who they are. The things that others might overlook entirely, the tiny features and mannerisms and quirks that pass unnoticed by the rest of the world, become precious to us, become sources of fascination and delight. We want to memorize the beloved. We want to know them by heart. And so we look and we look and we look, quietly storing away every feature, every expression, every small beautiful detail, building a complete and cherished image of the person we are coming to love. There is a particular tenderness to catching someone in the act of this, because it often happens in unguarded moments when they think you are looking elsewhere, when they believe themselves unobserved and free to simply drink you in. And in those moments, their expression tends to be soft, absorbed, wondering, almost marveling. It is the look of someone quietly astonished by you, someone who cannot quite believe their good fortune in getting to look at you, someone whose fascination with you has, for a moment, completely captured them. So if you catch this person looking at you in this way, with that soft, absorbed, marveling expression, their eyes moving appreciatively over your features, as though memorizing you, as though quietly wondering at you, take careful note. Because that is not the look of casual interest. That is not the neutral glance of ordinary friendliness. That is the look of someone who finds you genuinely, deeply captivating, someone who wants to remember exactly how you look in this very moment, because this moment with you has become precious to them. It is the gaze of a heart that has begun to treasure you, studying you the way we study only the things we most love, storing you up, feature by feature, in the deepest chambers of memory. Clue number 17. Reduced blinking during deep connection. The 17th clue may at first seem to contradict something I said earlier, so let me address that directly and clear up any confusion, because the resolution of the apparent contradiction is itself illuminating. Earlier, I explained that emotional engagement and interest can increase a person's blink rate, that excitement and stimulation tend to make us blink more. That is true, but in moments of especially deep, absorbing, spellbound connection, something different can happen. The blinking can actually decrease, dropping to a slow and infrequent rhythm as the person becomes so utterly, completely focused on you that they almost forget to blink at all. To understand this, think about the way we sometimes stare, wide-eyed and almost unblinking, at something that has completely captured our attention and captivated us entirely. A breathtaking view that stops us in our tracks, a mesmerizing performance that we cannot tear our eyes from, a spectacular sight that holds us utterly transfixed, a face we simply cannot look away from. In these moments of rapt, spellbound attention, our blink rate drops significantly, and there is a reason for this. Every blink, brief as it is, means a fraction of a second of lost visual input. a momentary interruption in our seeing. And when the brain is utterly absorbed in taking something in, when it does not want to miss even the smallest sliver of what it is beholding, it unconsciously suppresses blinking to maximize the time spent seeing. We stop blinking because we cannot bear to lose even a moment of the sight before us. So when someone is gazing at you during a moment of profound, deep connection, you may notice this particular quality of stillness in their eyes, a steady, unwavering, almost unblinking attention. Their eyes rest on you with a fixed, absorbed intensity, holding your gaze with a stillness that is striking. It can feel intense, this kind of gaze, but it can also feel absolutely wonderful, because you can sense unmistakably that they are completely and utterly absorbed in you. They do not want to miss a single moment of you. They do not want to look away for even the fraction of a second that a single blink would cost. You have become, in that moment, the mesmerizing sight they cannot tear their eyes from. Now let me resolve the apparent contradiction clearly, because understanding it will make you a better reader of people. The difference between increased blinking and decreased blinking comes down entirely to the type of moment and the type of emotional state involved. General excitement, nervousness, and stimulation, the buzzy, activated feeling of pleasant arousal, tend to raise the blink rate. This is the fluttery, energized blinking of someone who is excited and a little nervous in your presence. But moments of deep, still, absorbed, spellbound connection, the quiet and profound kind of attention, tend to lower the blink rate, producing that steady, unwavering, transfixed gaze. Both, in their own distinct ways, reveal that you have captured something powerful in this person. One reveals excited engagement, the other reveals spellbound absorption. Both are signs of a heart drawn deeply to you. The steady, absorbed, nearly unblinking gaze is particularly moving to receive because it carries such a sense of being truly beheld, of being the sole focus of another person's complete attention, of being looked at as though you were the most captivating thing in the world. When you notice this quality in someone's gaze, this transfixed stillness as they take you in, you are witnessing the eyes of someone who finds you genuinely mesmerizing, someone so absorbed in you that the ordinary rhythms of the body quiet themselves so as not to interrupt the experience of simply looking at you. Clue number 18. The way their eyes follow your movements. The 18th clue is about tracking, about the way a person's eyes follow you as you move through space, treating you, whether they realize it or not, as the single most important moving thing in their entire field of vision. It is a behavior rooted in the deepest workings of attention, and it reveals with great clarity where a person's heart is invested. Here is what this looks like in practice. When a person is deeply interested in you, when their feelings have grown genuine and strong, their eyes will track your movements almost automatically, following you wherever you go, whatever you do. If you get up from the table to leave the room, their gaze follows you all the way to the door, watching you go. If you gesture with your hands while you speak, their eyes follow the movement of your hands, drawn along by every motion. If you walk across a room, you can feel their attention traveling with you, accompanying you across the space, staying with you as you move. Their eyes treat you as the focal point, the thing worth watching, the most significant object in the room, following you the way our attention naturally follows whatever matters most to us. This tracking behavior is rooted in the fundamental way that human attention works, in the deepest architecture of how we allocate our focus. And the principle is simple and powerful. We track what we care about. Our eyes automatically follow what matters most to us, what holds significance for us, what our brains have flagged as important. Consider the various forms this takes throughout life. A hunter tracks the movement of what they are pursuing. A devoted fan tracks the movements of a beloved performer on a stage, following them everywhere they go. A parent, even while deeply engaged in something else, tracks the movements of their child across a playground. And a person who is falling in love tracks the movements of the one their heart has fixed upon. In every case, the eyes go where the heart is invested. Tracking is attention made visible, and attention follows love. You can often feel this tracking as a kind of gentle pressure, a warm sense of being watched with care and interest as you move through a space. It is not an uncomfortable feeling when it comes from genuine affection. Rather, it is a feeling of being accompanied, of being important enough to hold someone's attention even as you move about. And here is a way to confirm what you suspect. If you turn suddenly and catch them in the middle of tracking you, following your movement with their eyes, you will very often see that flustered reaction we discussed earlier, the quick look away, the little blush, the scramble to appear as though they were not just watching you cross the room. That fluster confirms that the tracking was not idle or accidental, but emotionally charged, that they were watching you because they wanted to, because their attention is drawn to you and follows you wherever you go. When someone's eyes consistently follow you around a space, when they track your movements again and again without seeming to decide to, when their gaze accompanies you wherever you go, their attention has quietly and unconsciously appointed you the center of the room. You have become, for them, the thing most worth watching, the focal point their eyes return to and follow. And that automatic, involuntary tracking, that inability to stop their eyes from following you, is a clear and honest sign of a heart that has fixed itself upon you. Clue number 19. A gaze full of warmth rather than assessment. The 19th clue concerns the emotional flavor of the gaze, its fundamental temperature and character, and it requires you to distinguish between two very different kinds of looking that can appear superficially similar, but which mean entirely different things. It is the difference between a gaze that assesses and a gaze that adores, between eyes that evaluate you and eyes that cherish you. Let me first describe the assessing gaze, so you can recognize it and set it apart. Some gazes are fundamentally evaluative. They are measuring, judging, weighing, calculating. When you are on the receiving end of such a gaze, you can feel a certain coolness in it, a sense of being examined and appraised, of being sized up and assessed against some standard. This kind of gaze is common in competitive situations, in transactional interactions, in circumstances where one person is evaluating another for some purpose. It has a distinctly analytical, cool, measuring quality. There is a distance in it, a separation, the distance of the observer studying a subject, the appraiser examining an object. It can feel, however subtly, like being scrutinized. But the gaze of someone falling in love has a completely different flavor, a completely different temperature, and once you learn to feel the difference, you will never confuse the two again. This gaze is warm, it is accepting, it is affectionate and tender. There is no sense whatsoever of being judged, measured, or evaluated. Instead, there is a feeling of being appreciated, of being looked upon with genuine fondness and delight, of being welcomed and embraced rather than assessed. The warm gaze does not hold you at the distance of an observer studying a subject. It draws you close. It seems to embrace you, to wrap around you, to hold you in affection rather than to examine you from a critical distance. This warmth is difficult to fake and equally difficult to hide, which is what makes it such a reliable indicator. It arises from genuine positive feeling, from real affection welling up inside a person, and it radiates outward from the eyes in a way that most people can sense intuitively, even when they could not put it into words. We are, all of us, remarkably sensitive to the emotional temperature of the gazes directed at us. We can feel the difference between being looked at coldly and being looked at warmly, between being evaluated and being cherished, even if we have never consciously analyzed how we know. And here is a wonderful way to recognize this clue. Pay attention to how you feel in the presence of this person's gaze. When you are on the receiving end of a warm, affectionate, adoring gaze, you tend to feel good about yourself. You feel accepted, valued, appreciated, even cherished. You feel safe and welcomed rather than scrutinized and judged. There is a warmth that seems to flow from their eyes into you, leaving you feeling better, lighter, more at ease, more valued than you did before. That feeling you get, that sense of being looked upon with genuine warmth and fondness, of being embraced rather than examined, is one of the surest and most reliable signs that real affection is present. Trust that feeling. When someone's gaze consistently makes you feel cherished rather than assessed, warmed rather than scrutinized, you are in the presence of eyes that hold genuine affection for you, eyes that have begun quietly and warmly to love. The 20th clue is different in nature from the others, because it is not about a single moment or a single behavior that you can observe in one interaction. It is about a trajectory, a pattern, an arc that unfolds and reveals itself across many interactions over an extended period of time. And precisely because it plays out over time, it is one of the most reliable indicators of all, because love itself is something that unfolds over time. Let me describe this arc, this gradual progression, because recognizing it requires you to look not at a snapshot, but at the whole developing story. In the very beginning, when feelings are new and fragile and uncertain, eye contact tends to be tentative, brief, careful, even shy. At this early stage, the person is testing the waters, unsure of how their attention will be received, uncertain whether their interest is welcome, careful not to reveal too much too soon before they have any sense of how you feel. So the eye contact in these early days is often fleeting, cautious, guarded, a series of brief connections quickly broken, a hesitant reaching out followed by careful retreat. But then, as time passes, as feelings grow, as confidence slowly builds and trust gradually takes root, something changes. The eye contact begins to deepen. It lasts longer, holding where before it would have quickly broken. It becomes more frequent, occurring more and more often as the person grows bolder and more comfortable. It becomes richer, warmer, more intimate, more comfortable. The tentative, guarded gazes of the early days give way to sustained, warm, comfortable eye contact that reflects a growing ease and a deepening bond. Where once there was hesitation, now there is comfort. Where once there was brevity, now there is duration. Where once there was caution, now there is warmth. This deepening over time is one of the most reliable indicators of growing love that exists, and here is why. Love, real love, genuine deep love, is a process rather than an event. It is not something that switches on all at once, fully formed in a single instant. It builds, it develops, it grows roots, slowly and steadily, deepening and strengthening over time. And as this internal process of deepening attachment unfolds within a person, it is naturally and inevitably reflected in the eye contact between the two of you, which grows richer and more sustained, in step with the growing bond beneath the surface. The eyes track the progress of the heart. As the feeling deepens inside, the gaze deepens on the outside. So I want to encourage you not to look only at single, isolated moments, but to step back and consider the arc, the overall trajectory, the way things have changed and developed over the whole span of your acquaintance. Think back to how this person looked at you when you first met in those early days. Recall the quality, the frequency, the duration, the warmth of their eye contact then, and now compare it to how they look at you today, in the present. Has their gaze grown warmer over time? Has it grown longer, holding where once it would have flickered away? Has it become more frequent, seeking you out more and more? Has it become more comfortable, more at ease, more intimate? If the answer is yes, if you can trace a clear progression from tentative and brief toward warm and sustained and frequent and comfortable, then you are watching feelings take root and flourish before your very eyes. You are witnessing, in the changing quality of the gaze over time, the slow and beautiful growth of genuine love. The progression itself is the message. The deepening is the confession. And an arc that bends steadily toward more warmth, more frequency, and more intimacy over time is one of the surest signs that a heart is not merely interested, but is genuinely, steadily falling. Clue number 21. The look that comes before the words. The 21st clue is a delicate, almost imperceptible thing, easy to miss entirely unless you know to watch for it, and yet once you notice it, it reveals something tender and profound about how a person relates to you. It is the particular way someone looks at you in the silent instant, just before they speak, in that brief pause before the words come. Watch closely, and you will begin to notice it. When someone is falling for you, there is often a brief pause before they respond to you, a small moment of silence in which their eyes meet yours and hold, seeming to gather something, to connect with you before the words emerge. It is as though before they translate their thoughts into speech, they need first to connect with you at the level of the gaze, to drink you in, to establish that wordless contact, to simply be present with you for a heartbeat before the practical business of talking begins. The look comes first, the words come second, and that ordering, that sequence, reveals something important. This pre-verbal look, this gaze that precedes the words, reveals that for this person, connecting with you is not merely a matter of exchanging information back and forth. It is not simply a transaction of words and meanings. It is, first and foremost, an emotional experience, a matter of the heart before it is a matter of communication. The words are almost secondary, a necessary formality that comes after the real thing has already happened. What comes first, what matters most, is the connection itself, the meeting of eyes, the wordless acknowledgement of one another's presence, the establishment of that intimate contact. The look before the words says, without any words at all, before I tell you what I think, let me simply be here with you for a moment. Let me connect with you first. Let me take you in before I speak. You will often feel this as a particular quality in your conversations with this person, a kind of gentle intensity, a sense that the pauses between words are as meaningful as the words themselves, that something significant is passing between you, even in the silences, even in the gaps. Conversations with them may feel weighted, charged, full of a quiet significance that ordinary conversations lack. The silences do not feel empty or awkward. They feel full, meaningful, alive with connection. This is because for this person, the connection with you exists beneath and around the words, in the gazes and the pauses, in a dimension deeper than mere talk. That quality of communication in which the eyes speak before and beneath the spoken words, in which connection precedes and underlies conversation, is characteristic of a bond that has moved well beyond the ordinary and into something tender, intimate, and deep. When words are secondary to the simple act of being present with you, when a person needs to connect with your eyes before they can even begin to speak, you are seeing a heart for whom you have become far more than a conversation partner. You have become someone with whom the connection itself, the wordless meeting of two people, matters more than anything that could be said. Clue number 22. Eyes that reflect your emotions back to you. The 22nd clue is the beautiful phenomenon of emotional mirroring through the eyes. The way that someone who is deeply attuned to you will reflect your own feelings back to you through their gaze, their eyes moving with the shifting weather of your emotions, as though they were feeling those emotions right alongside you. And in a very real sense, they are. Let me describe how this reveals itself. When someone is deeply attuned to you, deeply invested in your emotional world, and genuinely connected to your inner life, their eyes will reflect your feelings back to you in real time. When you are happy, when your own face lights up with joy or excitement, their eyes light up in response, brightening and warming to match your gladness. When you speak of something painful or sad, and your expression clouds over with that feeling, their eyes cloud too, filling with concern, with empathy, with a shared sorrow that mirrors your own. When you are excited about something, they catch your excitement, and it shows in the brightening and animating of their gaze. Their eyes move with your emotions, rising when you rise, falling when you fall, tracking the emotional contours of whatever you're feeling, and reflecting it back to you. This emotional mirroring is a profound sign of connection, one of the deepest there is, because it demonstrates empathy, the remarkable human capacity to feel with another person, to share in their emotional experience rather than merely observing it from the outside. Our brains are equipped with systems that allow us to resonate with the emotions of others, to internally echo what another person is feeling, to feel a version of their joy or their pain within ourselves. This capacity for emotional resonance is part of what binds human beings together. And when we care deeply about someone, when our hearts have become invested in them, this resonance becomes especially strong and especially attuned. Their joys become our joys, their sorrows become our sorrows. Their emotional life and ours begin to move together, intertwined, resonating in harmony. So watch how this person's eyes respond to your emotional shifts, to the changing weather of your feelings as you talk and share and connect. If their gaze seems to move with your feelings, brightening when you brighten, softening when you soften, filling with genuine concern when you are troubled, lighting up with genuine excitement when you are excited, then you are seeing clear evidence of a deep emotional attunement between you. This tells you something important. They are not merely listening to your words from a comfortable emotional distance. They are feeling with you, sharing in your emotional experience, letting your feelings become, in some measure, their own feelings. Their inner life has become responsive to yours, sensitive to yours, tuned to yours. And that shared emotional life, visible right there in the eyes, in the way their gaze moves with your feelings, is one of the most beautiful signatures of love that exists. Because this is what love does, at its heart. It joins two emotional worlds together. It makes another person's happiness matter to us as much as our own, another person's pain something we feel alongside them. When you see someone's eyes reflecting your emotions back to you, moving with your feelings, mirroring your inner weather, you are seeing the visible sign of two hearts becoming attuned, two emotional lives beginning to move as one, and that is love beginning to take its deepest and most tender form. Clue number 23, the reluctant goodbye gaze. The 23rd clue appears at a very particular and very revealing moment, one that many people overlook entirely, the moment of parting, the goodbye, the end of your time together. Because how a person looks at you when it is time to say farewell can reveal with striking clarity the depth of their attachment to you and how much your presence has come to mean. Pay attention then to the goodbye. Watch how this person looks at you when the time comes to part ways. Someone who is falling for you will very often display a distinct and unmistakable reluctance to break that final gaze, to sever that last thread of connection before you go your separate ways. They will hold eye contact a little longer than is strictly necessary as they say their farewell, letting the gaze linger past the point where a casual goodbye would have released it. They may look back at you as they walk away, turning to catch one more glimpse, unable to simply leave without a final look. They may linger in that last moment of connection, drawing it out, stretching it, as though reluctant to let go, as though wishing the goodbye did not have to come at all. This reluctance at the moment of parting reveals the depth of their attachment, and the psychology behind it is both simple and touching. Saying goodbye means the end of the connection, at least for now, at least until the next time. It means stepping out of each other's presence, returning to a world in which the other person is absent. And for someone who has come to cherish your presence, who feels genuinely happy and alive in your company, that ending carries a small pang of loss, a genuine reluctance, a wish that it did not have to be. The lingering goodbye gaze is the eye's way of holding on for just a moment longer, of stretching out the precious connection as far as it will possibly go before it must finally be released. It is a small resistance against the parting, a reluctance made visible in the eyes. There is often something wistful in this final look, a soft, gentle, slightly sad quality, a sense that they wish they did not have to go, that they would stay longer if only they could, that the coming absence already weighs on them a little. And that wistfulness is deeply telling, because we only feel the sadness of parting from those whose presence has become genuinely precious to us. We do not feel wistful about saying goodbye to people who mean little to us. We part from them easily, without a second thought, without a backward glance. The pang of parting, the reluctance to let go, the wistful final gaze, these are reserved for the people who matter, the people whose company we have come to treasure, the people we are sorry to be without. So when someone's goodbye gaze lingers past the ordinary, when they look back at you as they leave, when they seem genuinely reluctant to let the moment of connection end, when there is that soft, wistful quality to their final look, their heart is quietly but clearly revealing how much your company has come to mean to them. They do not want to say goodbye. They do not want the connection to end. They want more time with you, and their eyes, lingering and reluctant at the moment of parting, are confessing exactly that. It is one of the tenderest and most honest signs of a heart that has grown deeply attached to you. Clue number 24. The gaze that seeks your reaction. The 24th clue is the revealing way that someone repeatedly checks your face and your eyes to see how you are responding to them, constantly monitoring your reactions because your responses have come to matter enormously to their own happiness and peace of mind. It is a behavior that betrays just how much power you have quietly come to hold over their emotional state. Here is what this looks like in practice, and once you notice it, you will see it clearly. When a person cares deeply about what you think of them, when your opinion has become genuinely important to their sense of well-being, they will constantly, if subtly, monitor your reactions throughout your time together. After they say something, their eyes will flick to yours to gauge your response, to see how their words have landed with you. After they make a joke, they will watch your face closely to see whether you found it funny, whether you are smiling, whether it pleased you. Throughout the entire conversation, they will keep checking in with your eyes, reading you, studying your reactions, seeking signs of approval, of connection, of warmth, of pleasure. Their attention keeps returning to your face again and again to take its emotional temperature, to see how you are receiving them. This behavior reveals something significant, that your reactions have genuine power over their emotional state, that your approval and your responses matter to them a great deal. They are not indifferent to what you think of them, not in the slightest. On the contrary, your responses matter to them so much, weigh on them so heavily, that they cannot help but keep checking, keep monitoring, keep seeking reassurance that the connection between you is alive and well, that you are pleased, that things are going well, that you like them. Each glance to your face is a small question. How am I doing? Are you enjoying this? Do you like me? Are we connecting? And your reactions, they hope, will provide the answer. This is very different, and I want you to notice the contrast clearly from the self-assured indifference of someone who does not particularly care what you think of them. A person who feels nothing much for you does not constantly monitor your reactions, because your reactions do not have much power over their feelings. They speak, and whether you approve or not is largely a matter of indifference to them, so they do not keep checking, do not keep seeking your response, do not keep watching your face for signs of how they are being received. The constant seeking of your reaction only happens when your reaction genuinely matters, when it has real power over the other person's happiness. So the person who keeps seeking your reaction with their eyes, who keeps checking your face after everything they say and do, who keeps watching for your approval and your warmth, is a person who is deeply emotionally invested in you. They want to please you. They want to connect with you. They want the reassurance of knowing that their words and their presence are landing well with you, that you are enjoying them, that the connection is good. That constant, gentle, hopeful checking of your eyes is the behavior of someone who has given you a certain power over their heart, someone whose happiness has become bound up with your responses, someone who cares so much about what you think that they cannot stop watching your face to find out. And that degree of investment, that hunger for your approval and connection, is a clear and honest sign of a heart that has fallen or is falling fast. Clue number 25. The gaze that simply cannot hide the truth. And now we arrive at the 25th and final clue, which is in some ways a summary and culmination of all the others that came before it, and in some ways the single most powerful and most moving of them all. It is the gaze that, no matter how hard the person tries, no matter how carefully they guard themselves, simply cannot hide the truth of what they feel. Here is the deepest secret underlying all of the clues we have discussed together throughout this entire journey. Human beings, when they fall in love, become almost transparent to those who know how to look. The feeling is simply too large, too powerful, too overwhelming to be fully contained. It leaks out around the edges of every attempt to conceal it. It spills through the cracks of every careful composure. It shines through the eyes despite every effort to appear casual, unbothered, and indifferent. A person may do everything in their power to hide what they feel, and yet, if the feeling is real and deep, it will find its way out, and most of all, it will find its way out through the eyes, which are the least controllable and most honest part of the entire human face. You will know this gaze when you see it. It is difficult to describe precisely, and yet unmistakable when you encounter it. It is a look that carries something naked and true, something raw and real, something that the person may be desperately trying to keep hidden, and yet there it is, plainly visible, impossible to fully conceal. It is the way they look at you when they think no one is watching, when they have let their guard down completely, when they do not realize their feelings are showing so clearly. It is the expression that flickers across their face in an unguarded moment, before they can catch it and mask it. It is the light in their eyes that appears whenever you are near, a light they cannot switch off no matter how hard they try, a warmth and a longing and a tenderness that shines out of them despite all their efforts to hide it. This points us toward the great and humbling truth about love and the eyes, the truth that lies beneath everything we have explored together. Love wants to be seen. Even when the person is afraid, even when they are carefully guarding themselves, even when they have firmly told themselves to be cautious and to reveal nothing. The feeling pushes toward the light. It wants to be known. It wants to be expressed. It shows itself in the eyes because, at the very deepest level, love is not something we choose to do. It is something that happens to us, something that overtakes us, something that overflows the boundaries of our conscious control and spills out into the world despite all our efforts to contain it. The eyes reveal love because love, by its very nature, cannot be fully hidden. When you see this in someone's eyes, this unmistakable, unhideable, overflowing truth, this naked and genuine feeling shining out despite every attempt to conceal it, you are no longer guessing. You are no longer analyzing clues or counting signals or weighing evidence. You are simply witnessing, directly and clearly, another human heart opening toward yours. You are seeing love itself, revealed in the one place it cannot be hidden, and there is nothing in all the language of the eyes more beautiful, or more certain, or more moving than that. So there they are, all 25 eye contact clues that reveal when your crush is falling deeply in love with you. Let us take a moment to gather them together, to hold them all in our minds at once, so that you can carry the whole picture with you. The lingering gaze that stays a beat too long, the quick glance away followed by the helpless return, the pupils that grow wide and dark in your presence, the triangle gaze that drifts down toward your mouth, the eyes that seek you out across a crowded room, the softening of the eyes when you speak, the mirrored blinking and the synchronized rhythm of two attuned nervous systems, the genuine smile that reaches all the way up into the eyes, the prolonged eye contact held during moments of shared laughter, the flustered, blushing reaction when they are caught looking, the eyes that widen and brighten the instant you enter, the shy downward glance that drops and then rises again, the intense distraction-proof focus that blocks out the whole world, the slow, comfortable blink of safety and trust, the eyes that well up with genuine emotion, the absorbed, studying gaze that seems to memorize your face, the still, transfixed, nearly unblinking gaze of deep absorption, the eyes that follow and track your every movement, the gaze full of warmth rather than cold assessment, the eye contact that visibly deepens over time, the look that comes before the words, the eyes that mirror your emotions back to you, the reluctant, wistful goodbye gaze, the constant seeking of your reaction, and finally, the gaze that simply cannot hide the truth of what it feels. Now let me leave you with the most important reminder of all, the very same one I gave you at the beginning of our time together, because it matters more than any single clue on this entire list. No single clue is proof. I cannot emphasize this strongly enough. Human beings are wonderfully complex, and eye contact is influenced by a great many things beyond attraction, including personality, culture, mood, and simple circumstance. Some people are naturally shy and struggle to make eye contact, even when they are head over heels in love. Others are naturally intense and warm and make strong, lingering eye contact with nearly everyone they meet. Some cultures encourage more direct eye contact, and others encourage less. Context matters enormously. Individual differences matter enormously. So please, I ask you sincerely, do not take one single signal and build an entire castle of hope upon it, because that way lies disappointment and misunderstanding. Instead, do what I have asked you to do from the very start. Look for the pattern, look for the cluster, look for many of these signals appearing together again and again over time around the same particular person. When you see that constellation beginning to form, when you notice the small stars arranging themselves into a shape you can finally recognize, when clue after clue after clue keeps appearing consistently around the same person, then, and only then, can you begin to trust what you are seeing. The truth is written not in any single sign, but in the pattern that many signs form together. And now, here is my final thought for you, the note on which I want to leave you. The eyes are honest, yes, but so is the heart, and the greatest connections in this life are not built on decoding signals alone. They are not built merely on reading clues and analyzing gazes and interpreting glances. They are built in the end on courage, on honesty, on the willingness to let ourselves be truly seen by another person, and to truly see them in return. All the clue reading in the world is only a beginning, only a doorway. What lies beyond the doorway is the real thing, and reaching it requires bravery. So if you have read these signs in someone's eyes, if you have recognized this constellation forming around a particular person in your life, and if your own heart has been quietly leaning toward theirs all this time, then perhaps the bravest and most beautiful thing you can do now is to stop analyzing and start connecting. Perhaps it is time to let your own eyes tell the truth, to let yourself be seen, to stop hiding and start revealing the way you have hoped they might reveal themselves to you. Because in the very end, love is not just something we detect in others, quietly and safely, from a comfortable distance. Love is something we find the courage to reveal in ourselves, openly and honestly, whatever the risk. Thank you truly for spending this time here with me, for walking through all 25 of these clues, for caring enough about the quiet language of the human heart to learn to read it. Take care of your heart. Pay close attention to the silent, honest language of the eyes, in others and in yourself. And above all, be brave enough to look and brave enough to let yourself be looked at in return. Because the eyes have been telling the truth this whole time. The only question that remains is whether you will be brave enough to answer them.